Welcome to the Drew Grimaldi podcast. Thank you so much for being here today. We have a lot of stuff going on in the world, as always. The Democrats get weirder, they get crazier, they get more aggressive. They are constantly being caught up in their own scandals. The thing about the Democrat Party is that they will project. They would make Russian, ex-Russian KGB very proud. You accuse your enemy of what you're doing, and then it's just projected. You are projecting. You are accusing your enemy of doing exactly what you are doing in the meantime. Well, the Democrats are now caught up in another weird scandal. Okay, so I think she thinks she's going to be a front runner, but she's just as disastrous as every other Democrat is Eliza Slotkin, however you say this lady's name. Alyssa Slotkin. She's ex-KGB, okay? Pretty much. She's ex-CIA, pretty much. Same thing at this point. But she and all these other military people are now telling people of the military to not follow Trump's orders. So, naturally, it's a very stupid ad, and it doesn't do anything. And not to mention, when I tried to reach out, because this ad's essentially saying it's essentially pushing for a coup, is what this ad is doing. They're telling the members of the military not to cooperate with things that they think are illegal. Well, guess what? She's one of the people that votes on what's legal and what's not legal. But I digress. This is their newest ad, okay? And they're telling people not to follow Trump's orders. And it's one of the most bizarre ads I've seen lately out of the Democrat Party. They keep pushing further left. And honestly, I don't understand who they're talking to. It's almost like the Democrat Party is the party of non-common sense. So they have to hire all these pollsters to come in to tell them things that Republicans go, well, duh. And so this must have been one of their things that they got to check on. Hey, telling, we need to start showing that we stand up for the military as Democrats. And so they put out this ad that just completely flopped short. And it's weird, and the president called it seditious conspiracy, and it kind of is.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
Like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard
and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army,
or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
So, it was a completely failed ad by these people. And I don't even know what exactly they're trying to say. So, they keep having these people on. Laura Ingraham had one on. And it was crazy because she started pressing this guy, hey, what? Or I'm sorry, it was Martha McCallum. Started pressing these guys on what was a legal order that Trump gave that was illegal. They couldn't figure it out. This is it right here.
Actual policy.
Check this out.
You're not talking about things that are
She hit him with
members
it.
of our service members who we revere and respect are actually being asked to do. So when you see this video on
Exactly.
all over the place, when you see this video on social media, I think a lot of people scratch their heads and they say, what exactly are they talking about? Are they talking about
Martha.
not allowing gunboats to make it to the United States carrying drugs?
No.
Is that
Martha,
what you're talking about?
Martha, here's a novel idea. How about we actually prevent things from happening before they become a problem?
I think that's what they're
Right?
trying to do.
What you're saying is we have to wait until there's a problem to respond to that problem.
No, I'm not.
Right? As a military officer, what I think is important is we train people, we give them information.
Like,
we,
what the fuck is he even saying?
Prepare
No
people
answer.
for challenges coming down the pike. That is what I did as a commander in the military. That's what I'm doing now, is we are standing by our troops. We are
What
reminding them of their
specific
obligation.
order from the commander-in-chief
I
that
don't
we are
want to
asking
wait.
our military to carry out are you objecting to? This is very, very
Martha.
vague, and it was so vague in this video. I don't think people could figure out what you guys were all talking about, honestly.
Martha, Donald Trump has made a series of very disturbing comments and suggestions that would
Jesus.
violate U.S. law and put our military in
Right.
terrible positions.
Again, we're getting nowhere,
I
'cause
don't
you're not
wanna
talking
wait-
about an
I
order.
don't want to wait until
Specifics.
that happens
Specifics,
to
asshole.
remind our troops of their obligation, because
Yeah.
then it'll be too late. We are standing
So-
by our troops and our amazing men and women in uniform.
So he hasn't
Remind
given
them
any
Who
illegal
of
sign
what
up
the
every
Uniform
day as
Code
you
of
did
Military
to carry out
Injustice
the
is.
orders of the commander-in-chief. We are not engaged in new wars. We have no troops on the ground in Ukraine except some who were training pilot missions, not on any front lines of any kind. In the Caribbean right now, we've sent a carrier there. I thought these were the specific operations that are actually happening that you might be referring to.
It's insane. Like, literally, they could have said, like, this guy was so unprepared and is so incompetent that he couldn't bring up the drug boats that were taken out. Okay, that's got some questionable legalities to it. You're taking out these drug boats in Venezuela that are technically going over to some other country, but that those drugs do make it here eventually, but okay. But this guy couldn't even say that. He could not name a single illegal order that Donald Trump has given. And so it brings us all back to the point. What exactly are they even talking about? And the more they talk about it, the dumber these people look. And so it brings me to my next Democrat scandal. One of the most egregious hoaxes on the Democrat part. Now, when you call it a hoax, you need to be specific, okay? Because the liberal media loves their sound clips, and they love it when they say President Trump keeps calling the Epstein scandal a hoax. What he's referring to is that it's a hoax that his name is on any of these documents and that he was involved with Epstein at all. He banned the guy from his property once he realized. He banned Epstein from his property once he realized that the guy was a pedophile and a predator. And yet, the Democrats now, they think, like, their base is riled up because they think that Donald Trump's in this thing, right? When they release these emails, and they have them all redacted, where Jeffrey Epstein said, I have a photo of Donald Trump in my kitchen with a bunch of underage girls. Well, it turns out that after Donald Trump turned in Jeffrey Epstein to the FBI, Jeffrey Epstein then had a vendetta against Donald Trump, where he was trying to get Trump at all things, starting these bizarre hoaxes, like, for example, that there's a video out there of Donald Trump getting a golden shower from some Russian. These things all spawn from these fake emails of Jeffrey Epstein trying to get Trump. So now we're finding out, right? The Democrats are saying we need to find out all the Epstein files, even though now, because they're throwing their own under the bus, because it's becoming more of a Democrat scandal. So it brings me to this. So during the impeachment one, and there's an article out there where I was tweeting up against Michael Cohen, and it was about this exact exchange. And I called him. I said that he should still be in jail for lying and helping these criminals. And he responded back, "Oh, you're Fuhrer, blah, 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 blah." Here's my question. How, if Republicans and Donald Trump really are fascists and Hitler and Nazis, what does it say about the Democrat Party that a majority of the country would rather have a Nazi than the Democrat Party? That's what I'm talking about. These people are losing their minds. They're lost in the wild, and they keep going further left. They keep going further south, really, straight to shit. But one of the representatives from the Virgin Islands, and so she doesn't even have like full voting power, stuff like that. Don't quote me on that. But because it's like a U.S. territory, it's not even a real thing. But this lady was put in power. She was put there by Jeffrey Epstein to make sure, well, let's put this out. So essentially, these new emails are coming out that Donald Trump, that Rep. Stacey Plaskett was taking information, this is a Democrat, that she was taking questions from Jeffrey Epstein on her phone, texting with Jeffrey Epstein. She's feeding him questions, Michael Cohen, that she's going to ask Michael Cohen. And now this is all out there. Why? So she's out there talking to a convicted sex offender. At this point, he was already convicted. She's out there talking to a known sex offender. Look at this. This is crazy.
While we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they
Miss Rona, that was the text from Epstein.
That we should be meeting with.
So, Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
You got to quickly give us as many names as you can, so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
This guy's a piece of shit.
Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot that went on.
I mean, so essentially, Epstein is fed her that question through text messages. And it's just disgusting that the Democrats are still even trying to tie Donald Trump to this, who is like somebody who is known to have been an informant. He was the one, once he found out that Epstein was doing that to some of the girls on his property, he made sure it never happened again. Banned Epstein from his properties. So, she's sitting there texting this guy, texting him during all of this. And this is what she has to say about it now.
From Jeffrey Epstein, who at the time was my constituent, who was not public knowledge at that time that he was under federal investigation.
Yes, it was.
And
he was already convicted.
Who was sharing information with me. Now, I heard recently, and I got a text.
I mean, these people are just so dishonest. To say that Jeffrey Epstein, well, I was talking to him to try to get Trump because he's my constituent. Yeah, he put you in that position of power. But these people are so disingenuous, so dishonest. And you got to realize the type of morally bankrupt person that we're talking about here. The Democrat Party is morally destitute at this point. they try to play into all this self-righteous bullshit. And the fact of the matter is, these people, most of them, are evil. This is her saying that
Not only have had the codes,
Trump should be shot.
but now having the classified information for Americans and being able to put that out and share it in his resort with anyone and everyone who comes through should be terrifying to all Americans, and he needs to be stopped. Having Trump...
Quite the accident there. You can see where her mind was. And that was before the first assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life in Butler, PA, that took the life of patriot Corey Competore. Now, like, these people just keep bringing this up because they thought that Donald Trump didn't have the balls. Well, guess what, Democrats? Hook, line, and sinker. Y'all voted for it now. Now all the files are going to be released. And the fact of the matter is, the newest revelations do not involve Donald Trump. They involve your own party. Here's James Comer talking about that right here.
Another email shows Democrat fundraisers invited Epstein to an event or to meet privately with Hakeem Jeffries as part of their 2013 effort to win a majority. So Hakeem Jeffries' campaign solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we found in the last document batch. The files underscore why former President Trump must appear for his deposition. We've subpoenaed him. To date, the Democrats have done nothing to help us secure his appearance. I support full transparency. The Oversight Committee will continue to work to get the truth to the American people and to get justice for the victims. That's our goal of this investigation. With that, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, we reserve. The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Colleagues' coordination with Epstein.
I mean, it just keeps unfolding. And it's like the scandal keeps getting worse. And it's like they just keep making the worst. Like, it's so true. And Dana Perino says it on Fox, right? And it's such a true statement. Donald Trump has been blessed with the dumbest opposition in the history of the country. You know, instead of doing the right thing, they look at these polls, and their polls always tell them, hey, well, our base and the people that vote Democrat want us to go after and get Trump. Well, like, who's doing these polls? Like, they're always like MS Now polls. Like, who do you think's taking that poll? It's not real people. They're basement dwellers. And these people, most of them, don't have jobs. And now, actually, we're talking about people are saying, oh, the unemployment rate's ticked up. Well, yeah, we just had a massive government shutdown led by the Democrats for no reason. And it's just, you know, the unemployment rate ticked up also because guess what? You got more people excited again about actually trying to get a job and working, going out there and being a member of society. But here is Rep. Ralph Norman censoring Stacey Plaskett for texting Jeffrey Epstein, and a copy of the email underneath too.
Censoring and condemning Delegate Stacey Plaskett and removing her from the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence for conduct that reflects the discredibility on the House of Representatives for colluding with convicted felon and offender Jeffrey Epstein during a congressional hearing. Whereas Stacey Plaskett, the delegate representing the United States Virgin Islands in the House of Representatives, inappropriately coordinated in real time with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in a congressional hearing in February of 2019. Whereas Delegate Plaskett was actively coached by Epstein during the hearing, receiving instructions on specific lines of questioning, and was congratulated after the message by Mr. Epstein, good work. Whereas Jeffrey Epstein, the Speaker of the House is not in order.
The gentleman has the floor. The chair would again ask the body to please observe decorum and keep conversations to a minimum. The gentleman has the floor.
whereas Jeffrey Epstein was a known convicted felony sex offender, having pled guilty and been convicted for procuring a child for prostitution and solicitation, a proselyte in a plea deal in 2008, and served a 13-month prison sentence. Whereas in the course of that investigation, the FBI compiled reports on dozens of confirmed minors who credibly alleged sexual abuse by Mr. Epstein.
It's disgusting that you have Democrats that were in power for 4 years, right, during the Biden regime. And while they were in power, they had all the time in the world to release all of these Epstein files. And they didn't care to. They didn't release them then. They didn't care not then. They didn't care about the victims. And now all of a sudden, when they think that this push hurts Donald Trump, that all of a sudden they care. That's the hoax, is that they care for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. That's the hoax on the Democrat part. The Republicans do care, and they just don't want to have all these people that were named in documents that, you know, have their name completely slandered and dragged through the mud by the Democrats on something. And the thing is the Democrats are looking for one name in the Epstein files, and that's Donald Trump. And anytime they found it, we know how dishonest they are, because they released it was an email with a redacted name of the victim. And it said that Donald Trump had done all these things. And then it comes out that the redacted name was Virginia Guffrey, who was one of Epstein's victims. And she is on the record saying numerous times that she's never seen Donald Trump there and that he was never on Epstein's island. He never did anything wrong like that. So they redacted the name essentially because they wanted the outrage and the hate towards the president. And I just find it so telling that that's what people do. But it brings me to this point here, okay? So this is the Democrat Party. We talked about it in the past. They stand up for communism and Islam. That's what that party's become. And it's sad. It's not your father's Democrat Party. It looks like it's the remnants of the mentally ill at this point. Their key demographic is like in their 70s. And they can't seem to bring in anybody young, new, anybody with any good ideas. But here's a clip, an old clip from Bill Maher back in the day. And this one here, essentially is
America until after Israel was created.
Bro, what are you talking about?
So hang on, that was not what I was looking for there, I don't think. Hang on. So this one with Bill Maher here. Okay, never mind. We're moving on. But essentially, he talks about Islam, okay, and how you're never going to have a state, an Islamic state, that truly is free. Christians will not be able to live in an Islamic state comfortably and safely. However, Muslims can come into a Christian state and live happily and free. And that is the point that a lot of them make. But I digress. Let me try this one more time. It was, this video. Just, here it is. Here we go. Check this one out.
When the United States was barely a country, right, it was having its sailors taken as slaves by the Barbary states, the states of the Ottoman Empire in North Africa.
Tripoli.
Tripoli.
Shores of Tripoli.
Shores of Tripoli. Ships stopped. Its crews carried off into slavery. We estimate 1.5 million European and American slaves taken between 1750 and 1815. Jefferson and Adams went to their ambassador in London and said, why do you do this to us? The United States has never had a quarrel with the Muslim world of any kind. We weren't in the Crusades. We weren't in the war in Spain. Why do you do this to our people and our ships? Why do you plunder and enslave our people? And the ambassador said very plainly, Mr. Abdul Rahman said, because the Quran gives us permission to do so, because you are infidels. And that's our answer. And Jefferson said, well, in that case, I will send a navy which will crush your state, which he did. Islamic fundamentalism is not created by American democracy. It's a lie to say so. It's a masochistic lie. And it excuses those who are the real criminals, and it blames us for the attacks made upon us.
People don't know that.
I think that's true. But I digress. This is an older video of a Russian KGB agent saying that liberals are useful idiots when it comes to things, because they're just so destructive. Check this out.
It's the leftists who are idealistically believing in the beauty of Soviet socialist or communist or whatever system. When they get disillusioned, they become the worst enemies. That's why my KGB instructors specifically made a point: never bother with leftists. Forget about these political prostitutes. Aim higher.
But to eliminate the others, to execute the others, don't they serve some purpose? Wouldn't they be the ones they rely on?
They serve purpose only at the stage of destabilization of a nation. For example, your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It's the same pattern everywhere. The moment they serve their purpose, all the useful idiots are either be executed entirely, all the idealistically minded Marxists, or exiled or put in prisons, like in Cuba. Many former Marxists are in Cuba. In prison. You see, the useful idiots, the left.
There it is. It's an ex-Russian KGB saying the left is only there to destabilize your countries. And that's why, like, other countries are banned that liberal shit. It's just, like, now, I want to preface this. I do not agree with him that these people should be lined up and shot. Okay, no. Absolutely not. I hit a deer once. I felt bad for ever. Okay? But my point is this. Maybe instead of that, maybe we move them to mental institutions. Maybe we help them. They get them help to be productive members of society so that they're not just leeching off the system all the time. So, this one here is Kevin has set on the ACA and how it is 100% a Democrat bill and the failed. Now, ACA, we're talking about Obamacare, but it was a failed program.
Power has
it was
gone
a failed
up.
program.
So real wages, that's W divided by P for our technical people of the audience, have gone up by about $1,200 this year. So the way to think about it is that we've dug a $3,000 hole because of Biden policies, and we've gained $1,200 on the way out already, which should give you a great deal of hope for the future that the wage increases that we're seeing will continue, and even if inflation stays positive, make it so that people feel way better when they go to the grocery store and to buy a car. We've reduced the cost of buying a car with the deductibility of interest. I mean, there's a million things that we're doing to fix this problem, but it's just kind of astonishing to me that the cost problem is somehow being blamed on us. Now, think about it, especially with the Obamacare thing. So Obamacare is 100% Democratic policy. It's always been 100% Democratic policy. What they did is they expanded the subsidies during COVID, and then all those subsidies basically went right into the pockets of insurance companies. And Obamacare insurance policies have doubled in price relative to normal policies. And so the fastest inflation in the economy is these big government subsidies thrown at Obamacare insurance. Think about it, it's kind of like if you give lots of student loans, then the tuition goes up. It's that effect. And so now they're blaming President Trump for Obamacare as well. They should have fixed Obamacare in the first place. And President Trump had a plan in the big, beautiful bill to give people some subsidies, but the Democrats didn't like it because the subsidies weren't going to their campaign contributors, the insurance companies.
And he just laid that one out, hit him with the truth bomb. That was somebody that they did not want to have on because it was like, oh no, he's going to hit us with a truth bomb. And that's what he did. He kind of owned them. The ACA